Hello everybody! So I figured out that can you hear me? Let me know if you can't hear me. I'm just going to keep talking until I get word that you can't hear me. I discovered that my video camera on my computer has settings. So like all those times you guys were like, you look super tired, is because the stupid settings were all off. So now I don't look like I'm super tired, even though today I actually kind of am. So, yeah, so we're here today, and Mr. Moon is sitting next to me, meowing at me. Hi, Mr. Moon. Meow. But he won't come up and see me. But, I know that everybody thinks that he's super lonely or, like, neglected because of the way he meows, but he just meows constantly. I mean, I can reach down and touch him, and he's just meowing. But all morning, oh, here he comes. Wow, he's going to come up. He sat on my lap, and he's really aggressive with love. And he can't just lay in my lap. He, like, gets all against me and sticks his head under my chin. And he does the whole making muffins thing constantly. And I finally had to cut his nails while he was cuddling me, because I don't know if you can see, I have, like, scratches all over my neck. Because he gets up here and he just does this constantly and just clawed me to death this morning, didn't ya? So this is crazy because he's not a lap cat. He's been on my lap all day. Anyway, hi, Mr. Moon. Oh, are you going to come up and show him how you claw me? No? He wants to lay in my lap today. All right, so we are going to watch here he comes. Oh, yeah, this is pretty much what we've done. Oh, sorry, buddy. Did that scare you? This is what we've done all day, huh? Cuddling. We're going to watch the tropical sunset video today. Now you see why I have scratches all over my neck. Have you ever seen a cat that hugs before? Like, look, this paw, he hugs me. Oh, is it not the cutest thing you've ever seen in your entire life? Okay, so we're going to watch the tropical sunset video today, and it's a pretty short one. Ouch, new scratches, and I've even cut his nails. So whatever questions you guys have, I tried to spend a good amount of time on the whole blending thing. And because I know that that's something that a lot of you have a hard time with. So I hope that that was super helpful for you to watch the blending of the two different backgrounds. So if you have any further questions on that, please don't hesitate to stop me. Now, I didn't set up a second camera today for, ow, that's my headphone, for demonstrations because I figured we probably wouldn't need it. But if you guys feel like you want a demonstration, let me know and we can do that. Yes, everybody loves you. They can hear you purring. Yeah, you're the cutest little dude with the he's like hugging a cactus. A super cute cactus that's sometimes very soft. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. As always, please let me know if the audio on the video is too loud or not loud enough, and I will make adjustments. So let's jump over to here, and oh, this is gonna go on for the entire video, isn't it? I don't know why all of a sudden today he's decided he likes to be on my lap. All right, so today I'm starting with a 12 by 16 inch canvas. Fresh out of the package. I did not gesso it or wet the back, but you could do either if you prefer. I'm going to start with my 1-inch flat brush, and I did wet this in my jar and then just wiped it on the edge a little bit. So this is going to be a fairly simple painting. So we're going to put quite a bit of emphasis in blending. So that's what we're going to start with. Now I've got some deep violet, and you could really use any purple that you want. For this one, the deep violet's a little bit warmer, a little bit paler than Diox, so that's why I chose it, but you could use Diox. I'm just going to get a bit. I'm not loading up with it. I don't want it to be too terribly dark. And I'm going to get about the same amount
of white.
Let me know if that's too loud now.
Now I want this to be
Ouch.
very smooth, very straight across. So all of my brush strokes are just going to go side to side. And if you decide that you want it darker
See,
than
he's
that,
such a
little bit more
neglected
purple,
kitty,
just
isn't
grab a bit
he?
more purple and
He's
work
so
it into there.
abused.
Actually, I might.
Never
just
gets
a little
love.
bit. Especially right here at the very top.
It's hard to hear
Just a smooth
me
brush
speaking
stroke.
right now, Lucy.
See, I'm not putting a ton of pressure. My brush isn't bending.
Do I need to turn the
too
video
much.
down? Okay, good. Good,
And I'm
good.
going to take it down until it fizzles out. See, it's starting to kind of fizzle out. Now, because I don't want to blend the yellow into the purple
And
too
I would like to
terribly
know
much,
if you guys
I'm
did
gonna grab
this
some
with
white.
different colors
I'm going to do the same thing.
or whatever.
I'll
Let me
start right
know.
about
I'm
where
really
I left
interested
off.
in
Just go
the
straight back
different
and
ways
forth.
that you guys take some of these
Just
videos
to lay that
and do
paint
them.
down. And then to blend it, I'm going to go up
Oh.
into that purple with the same pressure. Right up into it. And then right back down. And we have a little bit of banding, but I like that because that kind of, I feel like it helps indicate some distant clouds. Now I've cleaned off my brush.
I love
I'm gonna
banding
pick up
and
some
paint
more
like
white,
that.
just a bit.
I used to have to try
Again,
and get the
start right below that
smoothest
purple.
blend that I
Go
could.
right up into
And
it.
then one
and
day I
right
just
back
decided
down.
I liked banding best, and
My brush is a
so
little
that's
bit
why I
wet
always
there.
do that instead.
Right below it, right up into it. Don't be afraid, get up in there. And
Ouch.
right back down. Now I'm going to pick up more white, quite a bit, and a bit of yellow. And this is cadmium yellow medium. My white ends right here. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it ends right here. So I'm going to start right below that and slowly work my way up into it.
Oh, I'm also going to show you
until
next
I
week's
see that I have a
painting
nice smooth
at
blend.
some point today.
And right back
I've been
down.
working on editing it
Again, notice
today.
the pressure on my brush. It's
Well,
bending a bit, but it's not flat
I hope
pressure.
to finish it tonight.
We only apply flat pressure when we're trying to lay down more paint. So there I did put heavier pressure to get some of that paint off my brush. And just a bit of pressure to smooth them
Welcome,
together.
Katrina.
All right, let's get a little bit more white and a little bit more yellow and a bit of quinacridone. And you don't have to use quinacridone. You could use any red that you like for this. Again, right below where I left off. Slowly right up into
Still
it
have a claw that's pretty sharp, don't you?
and right back down.
Oh, let me move my... Dude, you're gonna pull my headphones off. Don't attack the wire, or you'll have to get down.
So right there, my previous color is starting to dry a little bit. So I'm just gonna grab a hint of
Hello,
white
Emmy, I'm glad that you made it.
and just smooth over it. And
Vince
kinda
says
makes
that
it look like
quinacridone
it
would make a
blended
cool
in.
band name. Yeah, probably
So
would.
pick up a
What kind of
hint white
music
and
do you
some
think the band
quinacridone.
Quinacridone would
Just
make?
for the very bottom here.
I think they'd be like a
Maybe a little more quinacridone than
like
that.
an EDM
Get a nice bright
shoegazer
bottom
type
to our
experimental
sunset.
band.
There we go.
If you're gonna get feisty, then you have to get down. Oh no, no!
And I took it
He's
down
gonna
about
start
to
biting
the bottom.
me.
I'm going to take it
Time to
all
go.
the way to the bottom
Bye-bye.
because we're going to add a little bit of a ground there, so it doesn't really matter. See, and in only a couple of minutes, we have a nice smooth blend. All right,
Have
I'm going to
cat
let this
hair.
dry for about 20 minutes, and
All
then
over
we'll
my
come
face.
back and add our clouds.
Heavy metal.
No, the video did not start over. I am going to show
Did anybody
you how to do
notice
the
my
same
really
thing, but without
horrible
the banding.
audio?
Because I showed you
Change
how
right
I
there.
typically like to do it. I like the streaks of color, but I'm going to show you how to get a nice smooth blend without that banding. So again, I'm going to grab some of my deep violet and about the same amount of my titanium white, and then I'm going to mix them together.
That's right, you better go do the dishes, Vince.
If you want to mix them together on your palette beforehand.
He's so
That's
sweet. He always
perfectly
does the
fine, too. I
dishes
just
while I'm
want
at
a little
work.
bit of that
He's
purple
such a
in there.
nice husband. Does anybody feel like this
Okay.
helped them,
So we're gonna lay
the
down
blending
this
here,
color.
or do you feel like you're
Fairly
still
smooth
having
and
issues?
consistent.
Tell me how you feel about blending, especially after watching this.
Again, with the light pressure to avoid any brush marks.
Is there a class for learning to pronounce paint names? There should be, huh? Like my new favorite color, when I very first got it, I had no idea how to pronounce it. I was like,
into that purple that's on
Gamboge,
my brush there.
Gambogi, whatever, and it's apparently Gambouge.
Even a little bit
It's
more.
very-
Let's go a little bit lighter.
Very French sounding. It's probably not French at all, but yeah, there's some
Right below
crazy
that color.
paint names out there.
Right up into it. And right back down.
Yeah, you know, you can actually look up how to pronounce
I figured I couldn't tell
different
you
things
that we were
on
gonna spend some
YouTube.
time working
Also,
on blending. Mention
and, like,
how to do it
weird
without the
words.
banding.
Like
and then
I
not
looked
show
up
you that.
Gambouge,
So that's why we're doing
and
this again. Same.
you just look up how to
right
pronounce
below
on
it.
whatever it is, and like several
Right up into
results will come
Right
up. So
back
that's pretty
down.
interesting. But yeah, the like the Google thing, it has the
Cleaned
little
up my
audio
brush.
thing. But that's kind of
Work
a,
with white. It's picking
as
up.
far
a
as I
tiny
remember, I
bit of
haven't used
that
it for a
purple.
while. It's like an automated type voice. It sounds like
Pull
a
a bit of
computer, so
yellow
sometimes
into
it can be
and
hard
mix
to
the yellow and
understand.
white together.
Eileen liked both ways and couldn't decide which one to do.
Start right below the purple.
I do really like that smooth,
Right up
faded
into
look,
it.
and it has its place for sure.
And right back down. Same thing.
I love blending purple and yellow. I know that some people just hate that. They hate purple and yellow
Hopefully
mixed
between
together.
these two techniques, you feel pretty
My best
comfortable.
friend, in fact, she
doing
yells at me
some
whenever I
blending.
mix purple and yellow.
Yeah,
So every
blending's
time I
not as
do,
hard
or
as
orange and
I think
purple,
it
or
should
green
be.
and purple.
But it does take
um,
just a little bit of
she
practice.
hates it when I
Just
do
mixed
that.
a bit more yellow.
So
with the white
with
on
like
my
golden
brush.
hour, I told her,
And
hey, I
I'll
mixed
point the
green and
connector
orange and
a little
yellow,
more than that.
all with purple, and sometimes all the colors together.
And mix
She
it
was
in
like, you're
there.
disgusting.
Right below the yellow.
Shirley says, I usually paint in oil, but I'm having difficulties with acrylics. Paint dries too fast.
No, I think maybe I didn't want to.
So, Shirley, if you're
Orange.
used to oil,
That's
there's going to be a
fine, but
little bit
that's
of
okay,
a
'cause we're
learning
just
curve,
demonstrating
and
the blend. I'm not going to use this one for my
it's
painting.
really about what you're used to. So your hand and your working time
little
and
dry bits of
everything
paint
is
on my palette.
accustomed
So
to
it's a good thing we're not using
the
this one
working
for the
time
painting,
of
'cause there's
oil
little
paint. And
chunks
so
of
it
paint in
will
there.
take you a little bit of
Get some more
time
quinacridone,
to
more yellow.
get the hang of
Mix them together.
acrylic and
Wow.
you know how much working time you have for
Let's go
each
a little
one.
heavier on the quinacridone.
There's the only thing I'm really doing here is just kind of working quickly.
Lots of little chunks of
There's
dried up
little
paint
tricks that you
there.
can do to improve
palette's
the
been
working
sitting for a
time that
few
you have.
minutes.
Like, you know, wetting down the back of the canvas or using a retarder
Right up
like
into it. I think that
slow
that's
dry
where a lot of
blending
people
medium or matte medium. But
have a hard time
ultimately,
is they're
it's
afraid
really
to
only
go
going to
up
give you a
into
couple
that
of
previous
minutes
section.
more working
And
time.
so they don't get
So it's really
a
going to boil
blend
down
because
to
they're afraid that going up into it is going to take
how
it away.
quickly you work
And certainly
and
going
how
up
well
into
you
it
know
would take it away
your
if you
medium.
put full pressure like that onto it. But I'm only putting full pressure down here to lay that.
Christy
paint
says,
down.
I love the colors together, but I
When
always
I hit
get
that
muddy
next
mixes.
section, my pressure lightens.
So I would have to see an
And
example,
just
Christy,
letting the
to
tip of
be
the
able to
brush
give
do the
you
work.
any
Go
real
right up into
advice
it.
on that. The first piece of advice I can really give you is just don't
So
overwork
look,
it.
and even up into the
You
yellow.
know, like I could have
because
easily
of the light
gotten
pressure
a bit of mud between that yellow and purple, but I really only went over it enough to smooth the colors together. But if I kept going over it, I would definitely get a muddier color.
Just go right into the quinacridone. We'll just finish it off with this color.
Katrina says, I need to remember to clean off my brush when doing this kind of thing. Yeah, for sure, when you get to colors that you don't want to mix or blend a lot. So I think on this background here, I only cleaned off my brush when I picked up the yellow. I might have cleaned it off before picking up the orange just to avoid dragging any of the purple into the orange. But yeah, cleaning off your brush, you don't have to do it between every color, just the colors that aren't gonna mix together real nicely.
So if you like a little bit of banding, a little bit of variation in your sky, just don't mix the paint on your palette very well. Just pick up the colors.
Would more white in between work better? So Christy, I'm assuming you mean between the purple and the yellow.
Blend, then mix them on your palette. Never be afraid to go.
Yeah, so in the banded one, the one that we ultimately used on the background, if you notice, I did purple, and then I went to more white, and then I might have cleaned off my brush, used solid white, and then I moved into the yellow. And here I actually just forgot to do that. I was gonna do that, and then I just forgot to do it. But I didn't really care because it's just a demonstration on how to get the smooth blend. But once I got that yellow up into the purple, I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't because I really like that transition mark there. But if you're concerned that that's going to be an issue for you, absolutely. Do your purple, clean off your brush, just do a bit more white at the bottom and, probably a little less than we did of the yellow there. And then clean off your brush again and then start with your yellow, and that might help you out. Okay, good questions, you guys.
Go up in.
Dumb thing that always freezes up. And if I would have put a little bit more time into this, like if this was a background I was actually going to use.
Okay, we're back to our banded canvas because that's the one that I like better.
I could have gotten that much smoother.
I'm going to use my number 8
once you're more experienced at it, you can get to the point where you're using like 2 colors on an entire canvas, and you get like
the image that you saw of this painting
from top to bottom with them.
The clouds look like they get warmer and a little bit redder as they go down. But all I'm going to use is my deep violet. I might mix just a hint of white in with them up here just so they're not so dark, but we'll see. And I got just a little bit of matte medium.
Did anybody struggle with this cloud technique?
Or you could use water, but I'm going to use matte medium.
Did you like it? Did you use something different?
So I'm just going to pick up a little bit of paint. I'm not loading up. I don't have gobs of paint on here.
Yeah, Shirley says that she thinks she's just not working fast enough, and it will come to you.
And just kind of
acrylic does dry really fast.
A cloud shape, kind of. Like it doesn't have to be.
I think that that's probably one of the biggest struggles with working with acrylic paint. It's just that it does dry quickly.
And come right here underneath it, and just kind of tap that out.
But it's something you absolutely will learn
at the bottom there.
And get the hang of. Sometimes it doesn't dry quick enough for me. Getting out the blow dryer.
Pretty simple clouds.
You don't have the option with oil.
So wiping some of the paint off of my brush.
I don't know that I ever have the patience to really work in oil much.
The paint out anyway.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't want the paint to
spread. I always said that I could have never seen myself working in watercolor, and we know how that's turning out.
Soften up that bottom edge. And you know what? I might actually just use water. I washed off my brush. Yeah, you know what? I like that better. I'm not going to use the matte medium, but I am going to keep a paper towel handy.
Hey, did you know that we're already almost halfway through this video? This is a short video, you guys.
I feel like the matte medium is spreading the paint too much, and I don't really want to spread it.
Don't worry, I'm making up for it next week.
Diminish it at the bottom.
And then some.
Okay, let's do that again. Like a little small one in here.
Did you guys tell me honestly, did you even like the cloud technique in this? Because if you guys didn't like it, then I don't want to use it again.
Kind of cleaned off my brush.
Shirley asked if I always use plastic plates. They're paper plates.
Tap out the bottom.
And yeah, I do. and it's just because that's just what I got used to. I've tried, you know, like real palettes and
Mr. Moon
all kinds of
sad
stuff
today. He's not sad,
And-
though, I promise.
Once in a while, you
He
know what I
says
like
otherwise.
to use is like a canvas board that still has the plastic on it. I like to use that sometimes, but ultimately, paper plates are
I'm not
what I'm
scrubbing at it.
comfortable with.
It's just like a tap.
And
Kind
I
of a bounce.
know,
Kind of like the
I
way
think
we
a
did
lot
the
of
trees
people think that I'm
in
probably really wasteful, you know, using a new
the
paper
Supermoon
plate
video.
for every painting, but
So
I
it's
don't
like
use
a
a
dab
new
and a
paper
bounce.
plate for
My
every
brush is
painting.
never actually coming off.
I
of
use
the
a new
canvas.
paper plate for every video, and then that paper plate I will
Just
probably
take a little bit of that
use as a palette
here.
for weeks and weeks until
And
it's
I'm gonna
so
do
covered
that.
in paint that I can't do anything
Pretty
with
much
it.
throughout here, you'll start to see as we get down lower how the color changes.
Okay, good.
So you don't
Eileen
make
liked
worms.
it.
I'm not
Katrina hasn't
really
tried
trying to
the
make
clouds
cloud
yet.
shapes, Just kind of tapping that color into there. Clean down the brush.
Atra doesn't like it, but she hasn't even tried it yet. Thanks, Atra. Can always count on you, bro.
Just break up any of the lines that are a little too hard for you.
Let's pause after this cloud, and I'll show you what we're going to do next week. I'm nervous and excited to show you guys. I'm nervous about it. Every time I really like one of my paintings, okay, we're going to pause it right there. So, every time I really like one of my paintings, then I'm always really nervous to show it off because it's been my experience a lot of the times in the past that if I really like a painting, nobody else does. Doesn't get watched. Nobody cares about it. If I really hate a painting, which happens a lot, then like everybody loves that one. So it's kind of hard. But yeah, I really like next week's painting, and I'm almost done editing it, and it's looking like this video is going to be like an hour and 45 minutes. It's going to be a long one. Hang on, let's see. We got a couple of questions, it looks like. Guys, remember, put your questions in all caps so that I can see them, and if I miss it, post it again. Let me just go through these, and then I will show you what we're going to paint next week. Yeah, Christine says that she wets down the back of the canvas and she used the Golden Open paints. Yeah, I've heard of those, and I've been interested to try them. And then that's a little bit closer to working with oil, but I think, Christine, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never used them. I'm only going by what I think I read somewhere, that you get maybe an extra 10 minutes or so on the drying time there. Let me know if I have that wrong. Lucy hasn't painted in weeks. Is my brush dry for the clouds? Christine's asking. No, I used it wet. I wet it, and then I think I tapped it on a paper towel so it wasn't terribly wet. And then after I put the cloud on, I kind of washed my brush off just very loosely, dried it off a little bit again, and then just used the water that was in it to kind of tap out the bottom and make it a bit misty. Welcome, Kathy. We're glad you're here. And okay, and Bonnie. Welcome, Bonnie. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys next week's painting. I'm really scared to show you. I'm scared. Okay. And yeah, it's going to be like probably close to an hour and 45 minutes long. All right, you ready? Here we go. Ta-da! So, this is what I've been working on this week for next week's painting. And, yeah, monochromatic. It's a chromatic black. I used phthalo blue and cad red medium, and white, and that's it. And we spend so much time shading, a bit in the castle ruins in the back, a good amount of time in the water, but then I would say close to half of the video is spent on shading the Loch Ness Monster. Lucy says it looks complicated. Yeah, it is going to be a little bit more complicated. This is absolutely a level 2 painting. However, if you guys painted with me in September, you know, where we did lots of layers going back and forth between layer colors, this isn't going to be that complicated, because that's really what the majority of it is the layers to get the shadows and highlights. And Christy said that the drawing scares her. Well, guess what? That's okay, because there's no drawing. I do have a tracing element for the monster, so you won't have to draw it unless you want to. And I do very briefly go over how to draw it on your own. But yeah, and I made a tracing element because, I mean, she's really very simple to draw, but when I was drawing her each time, you know, I'd kind of start with a shape and then refine it and change it and go back and forth with that. And I knew that the video was going to be really long already, and you were going to see me doing a bunch of back and forth already, so I didn't want to make you sit through that. So I did make a tracing element for it, and you'll be able to download that for free off of my website. So no big deal. And don't say that it's above your level until you've tried it. The best way to learn something is to just jump in and try it. But so it's really not any more complicated than anything we've already done. You know, all of the brush strokes and all of the concepts and all of the techniques that we use are what we use there. There's really nothing new being introduced here. The difference is just the amount of attention that you put into each element. That's really it. You know, so rather than saying, here's the base color, here's a highlight, here's a shadow, moving on, you know, we say, okay, here's a shadow. Okay, let's darken that shadow a little more. Maybe let's darken it more. Now let's put a highlight. Let's make it brighter. Let's make it brighter. And it's just building. But the way we build those, it's going to be exactly the same as other times. You know, we're just going to spend a little extra time and attention in the elements. So we're not introducing any new concepts or anything here. Christine says the speed at which she's painting right now, that's going to take a month. Nah, you don't know that. Do I have a traceable for the boat? No, but that boat is super, super simple. And I just freehanded it. And if I can freehand that, you can absolutely freehand it. And good. I'm so glad that you guys like it. I'm so glad that you guys like it. And Emmy likes the cloud technique in the tropical video. Good, 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 good. Because that was a new one. And, you know, whenever I introduce a new technique, I'm like, are they going to like it? Are they going to hate it? If they hate it, I'm never doing it again. If they like it, you know, we can build on that at some point in the future. So let's talk about next week real quick, just because next week is weird with Christmas and everything. Actually, it doesn't look like it's going to impact us too much. So I will release the Loch Ness Monster painting to you on Sunday. That's Christmas Eve. You know, if I can get it uploaded in time on Saturday, I'll give it to you on Saturday maybe, so that you can watch it before the holiday begins. And then it will go out to everybody on the 26th, just like normal. Is everybody up for doing our viewing party on the 30th? Let me know what you think about that. Keep in mind, if this video is going to be an hour and 45 minutes long, it's going to be a long viewing party too. Shaddy, I'm so glad that you were able to make it. And Gretchen's here. Welcome, Gretchen. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so anyway, that's the plan. I'll try and get you the Loch Ness Monster on Saturday. It'll go live on Tuesday. We'll do our viewing party for it on Saturday. And then, oh yeah, we talked about this in a post on both Patreon and Facebook, but we haven't talked about it live. Oh my gosh, I've been wearing my jacket all day and now my t-shirt is all stretched out. I look like a bum. So on New Year's Day, on the 1st, we will do our first live watercolor painting, and it'll just be you guys. And I will be testing my setup and my ability to talk to you and do a painting demonstration at the same time. So please have patience with me if I suck at it. And yeah, I can't remember what time I said that was, but I'll post a reminder about it. Okay, are we ready? Let's get back to our video, and we want to be here. All right, shout out your questions as you have them. Why is my video lagging so bad? There we go. I thought I posted a time for Saturday. Let me go look. Yeah, I used kind of jazzy music in this painting. That's a little different than the kind of music that I typically pick. Oh yeah, I didn't say a time for the first, huh? I just said later in the day.
So the nature of this purple.
What about this
makes
time?
it very transparent.
We started
exactly
at 3 o'clock my time.
There.
So 30 minutes ago. Does that sound good for the first?
Because if
3
this
o'clock?
purple weren't transparent, and I wouldn't get
Band
the color shift
painting?
in it.
Kathy is asking, what is band painting?
And I would just have
I have
these
no
solid
idea.
purple
I've
clouds
never heard of that before.
over the entire background. And that's not what I want. I want my clouds to look like they're changing color.
Good.
with the
Shadi
sky.
said that the blending.
And maybe the color of the sky
And the
is kind of
backgrounds helped her
reflecting
out.
them a little
Good.
bit. And I can easily get that just because the color is
I'll get
transparent.
reminders out
And that
about
yellow and
this
orange
Saturday.
and everything automatically glows through the purple.
Next Saturday and the 1st. I'll get those reminders out next week, probably the day after Christmas.
And he's really on one today. This is the second video that I've recorded
Why did
today.
I do 2 paintings at the
And he
beginning?
was completely silent.
To show you the 2
for the
different
one
ways to do
before.
the background. So Eileen is saying it's band painting. I still don't know what that is. Lucy asks if I'm scumbling the clouds on. Kind of, but it's not really even scrubbing that much. It's almost just like kind of wiping. So it's, to me, scumbling implies, lots of pressure and kind of scrubbing. And I'm definitely not doing that. It's more just like a continuous dab. Oh, it's so banded. So like the white stripes in there, like the background has bands. Emmy, don't inflate Vince's head any more than it already is by telling him that he's a legend.
See how warm these clouds down here at the bottom look. All that orange glowing through.
Katrina says you have to praise them when they do good things. Yeah, I guess so. I can't get comfortable in this room.
There's a lot of colors that you guys don't like to use.
My jacket on, I'm flaming hot. My jacket off, I freeze.
But sometimes transparency is exactly what you want. Sometimes you don't want your color to be
Shadow
really
asked, why didn't I do the clouds with a 1-inch brush like Bob Ross? I'm wondering if his techniques are applicable in acrylics. Some of his techniques you can absolutely use in the acrylics.
I think I might just pop a couple.
You know, and each artist has their preferred way to do things. I've certainly done things like that in the past with. I'm trying to think.
Okay,
I know
so I'm
I
going
did a
back
sky
to a half-inch angle brush, and I'm going to load up with my deep violet.
I can't think of which one it is, but
and I'm just going to grab a little bit of Mars Black. So
I think I know what you're talking about. Where you use the corner and kind of like
to verge on purple.
That wouldn't work for me today with this because
really not
the background was dry. So that's something that you'd have to do if the background was very wet still.
Just a little bit of distant land.
It just depends on overall what you're doing.
I just cleaned off my brush, and I'm going to streak that down. Okay, much better. Deep violet. Picked up just the littlest hint of black
Mr. Moon was
in there.
seriously vocal.
Much better.
For part of the day. When I filmed this, I filmed 2 videos in one day when I filmed this. This was the second one. And for the first video, he didn't make a peep. No sound at all.
So it doesn't have
and
to
this
be
one, he wouldn't shut up.
Even and perfect. Maybe I'll just grab some quinacridone. I didn't clean off my brush, so I'll have that purple black on there. And I'll fill in this.
Eileen asked, what other colors would you use for the sky if not the ones you used?
Like there's a little bit of
man, you could go crazy.
A reflection. I've got to bring it up a little higher. I probably should have taken my sky all the way down, but I didn't.
The only color you really don't see in skies a lot of, but I say it doesn't even matter, you could still do it, is green. Like bright greens.
Can't be helped now.
But yeah, I think like
fairly level,
purple, blue, green would be like super cool, or
the ocean or something. Tropical.
A blue, orange, yellow.
So we might have some water there.
Teals,
all right, let's go back into our
aquas
purple with a hint of black, and we'll just bring our
you could do anything.
Just a little bit.
Emmy's looking forward to the watercolor demo. I'm pretty excited to do it too. I need to decide
these hills
how I'm going to do it.
Water and everything.
For the most part, when I sit down to do watercolor, I have zero idea. I just start.
Star of the show.
And it's usually based on the colors that I'm drawn to use at that moment.
Okay.
So I'm trying to decide if that's what we're going to do or if I'm actually going to develop something specifically for it. The vast majority of the watercolors that I do are really simple. So obviously, I'm still learning it, but I also like that. I like the very simple.
I'm going to start just by drawing where my trunks are going to be. And
modern
palm trees, they're kind of wiggly and they're kind of weird shapes.
Abstract landscapes, things like that. So maybe we'll do both. Maybe I'll kind of develop something real quick that we will run through, and then I'll do one just kind of off the top of my head. We'll see what happens.
About like that. Have one here that's maybe not quite as
Katrina, maybe you should start taking the bus. She says she almost gets into a car accident pretty much every day, just in awe of the sky and the colors that seem to happen. I know exactly what you're saying, though, but that's why I make Vince drive. Good, Emmy. I'm glad that the time works for you. It's hard. I want to be able to, find a time that works well for, me, obviously, everyone in the U.S., as well as, my friends in other countries, particularly, the U.K. and Australia, New Zealand.
I'm taking all the way off the bottom of the canvas.
That's really challenging, and that's why I keep kind of changing the
Maybe
day
some
and
of them
time that we
fatter,
do
some of them
these, so
skinnier.
that, you know, everybody in the different time zones and everything can have an opportunity to join us. Acha likes how I did the trees with the fan brush. Thank you. I'm sure you guys know I say it all the time. I said it in this video too. I said I'm not a fan of the
quite
fan.
a bit fatter at the base.
Yeah, it's the fan brush just seems
A little more
stupid to me.
distance,
I
we'll
just,
keep
and maybe
it
it's just because I don't
narrow.
get it. Like half the time I try and use the fan brush, I'm like, that was just stupid. I don't understand how people use this brush. Like watching Bob Ross do clouds with the fan brush is just mind melting. I don't understand that. I tried it, did not look nice. But when I was doing these, I was like, the fan brush
Right, I'm going
is
to go to
the
my
only
number
thing
3
that you
round,
can
and
use.
this is just to
I was
draw
like, this
the
is
little
going to be
lines
terrible.
where the palms are
Because I
gonna
actually
be.
did it on the fly here.
And
I
they
hadn't
don't have
used,
to just hang
I did this on a
out
small
and down
painting
like that. Maybe the wind is blowing a
before,
little bit.
and you know,
So
obviously I
this
don't
one,
have
for
a teeny
example,
fan brush.
it's in the back.
So I used another
I'm gonna
brush.
come up with a little
And when I was
line,
recording this, I was like, you got to use a
just
fan
a
brush,
couple of
dude.
little lines here and
I
there.
don't want to use a fan brush, but I did it, and
it
so
look
you
like
guys
this one's
watched
kind of
me do the palm
blowing.
trees here with the fan brush for the first time.
And we'll have one here.
I bet when I was doing this with the little, you guys were like, that is so ugly. What are you doing? Welcome, Nora. I'm glad that you
And
made
we
it.
can adjust it and add more as we start
You
filling
do
them
have
in.
it. Eileen
I'm gonna
has
use
a
my
teeny
fan
fan
brush
brush. I didn't even know
and
they
load
made
up
teeny
with
fan
black
brushes.
paint.
My gosh.
I'm going to do this very delicately.
I should get a
You don't wanna
teeny
put
fan
too
brush.
much pressure on your brush on here. Otherwise, you'll just fill it all in and you'll just have big black swoops. So I'm going to start right on the line and just lightly start kind of pulling it. And we'll kind of go both ways a bit.
Yeah, the fan brush worked really well for that. If the fan brush did awesome things like that every time I picked it up, I might use the fan brush more often, but more often than not, I use it. I'm like, that was a bad decision.
And I don't want my brush sticking
lean in
together
those
quite
lightning
that
nails.
much and get those wacky lines in there. There we go. Much better. Let them really swoop out.
I think the trick to using a fan brush adequately is having enough paint and water on the brush. If the brush is really dry, the fan brush says, I'm not going to do
If
anything
you're not
you want me to
comfortable
do.
with a fan brush, you
But
can
if it's
absolutely do
nice
this
and
with
wet, then
really
you
any
get some
kind of
really
brush you
nice
like.
effects out
Just
of
added
it.
another one there that I hadn't drawn on in the first place. And let's add some to this one. Now this one's smaller, so obviously I don't want to use the middle because then the edges are going to
Good.
get away
Gretchen
from
said
me.
that the last
I'm
3
gonna
videos
use
really helped her
the
out
corner.
with trees. That's awesome. Thank you.
Just come in with the corner. And very light pressure, just kind of pull some down.
Yeah, Shadi says that the fan brush works really well for like water effects, and that's something that I haven't done much of.
Now you
A
see
little
hopefully
bit
why I
with the
just
fan
kinda
brush
generally
and water,
drew
but not a lot. So
the
maybe that's
stems on
something
there.
that I can,
Because it is kind of
you know,
hard
I
to
feel like I
get
do
exactly on there with
want
the fan brush.
to,
I'm not
you know,
completely
figure out
comfortable with the
ways
fan brush. I
to
can
use the
it a
fan
bit,
brush,
but
and
it's not my
because I know that it's a useful
Not
tool, and I
typically
know
my
that it's
favorite
just my
brush.
discomfort with it. But yes, maybe I'll start working with it a little bit more.
But I think for
and
this,
seeing
it
what we
works
can
really well.
get it to do.
Pull a few up off of it that way.
Well, Eileen just got busted because I said that she was buying things on lightning deals. But if she didn't tell me things like that while I was speaking out loud where her husband could hear, then I wouldn't say it and she wouldn't get in trouble. Lucy just got a Bob Ross fan brush.
And maybe we'll just indicate that some of these taller trees
Very
have
cool.
some that are
Is
poking
it
down just
like
a
those
bit.
stiff bristles or is it the soft synthetic
And flick a little
bristles?
Now just underneath the palms, our trees do have a little bit of an area that's a bit wider, so I'm going back to my number 3. And just at the base here, I'm just kind of tapping, kind of widen it out and give it some of those little messy bits that kind of poke off.
Messy bits. Oh, wait. Oh, we missed it. That is the scientific term for that part of the tree. Messy bits.
So you're just kind of dabbing at it a little. Flicking outward.
Lucy says she hopes that all the hairs of the fan brush won't stick
Some
together.
Of them even just have a little bit of that character.
I think with the
all the
synthetic
way
bristles,
down. So you
it
could even
will.
just kinda
If you
come
notice,
along the edge
my
and
brush when I was doing these palms, all of
break
the
it up a
bristles
little
were,
bit
it
here
was
and
like
there. See,
one
it's just
solid
tiny little brush
thing, and then
strokes.
sometimes they broke up and they were like in little clumps. But I don't really feel like overall
so the
that it
trunks aren't
affected,
perfectly-
that it negatively
perfectly
affected the
straight.
look that I got.
Give it a bit
So I know that some
there.
people kind of freak out when their fan brush starts like
I'm just going to do that on
breaking,
these
you
here
know,
and there.
the bristles break
And I
apart
think
or
we're about
whatever,
done.
but I haven't noticed that it affects it too much unless I'm not putting enough pressure on the brush or trying to work too slowly with it. Then you can really see those breaks. Deb says I could take a spatula and do a great painting. I don't think that that's an accurate statement, but I appreciate the confidence that you have in me. Thank you.
Okay, I'm pretty happy with our super simple little tropical sunset. So I'm going to grab what's left of my yellow and I'm going to sign it.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. Pause it. Okay, good. Woo. I hate when I pause it on my face. Pulling dumb faces. Okay, that was a super fast and simple painting. So if you guys have, throw out any other questions you have. It can be about this one. It can be about, anything. It can be about watercolor. It can be about what's coming up. Anything you guys got, we can chat. I usually set aside about 2 hours for these because like the longer videos, and especially the more in-depth ones, can go for quite a while. And we've only been about 45 minutes. So yeah, we have some time to talk. Shadi's asking what kind of brush mine was. It was the fan brush, it was a very soft synthetic bristle brush. So it, if I use it a certain way, those bristles all stick together in little clumps. But if I load it up with enough paint and water, like I was doing here, and then you notice that the fan is really a solid shape for the most part, I found that it really does depend on how much paint and water you have in the fan brush. Just because you want those little breaks at the end, like I got in the palm tree, doesn't mean that you want your brush to be dry so that the bristles start separating. Use it nice and loaded up, light pressure, and just kind of flick it, and it will naturally break up at the ends. How would I paint the background if we're not painting silhouettes? You mean if the trees weren't silhouettes? I would probably do it the same. And then it would just depend on how you were doing the colors in the trees. But I don't see any reason why you couldn't do the background the same. If you were concerned that it was too vibrant for foreground elements, then just maybe mix a little bit more white into each thing so that the background kind of fades into the distance just a little bit more. Yeah, Christy says that she'd like to know how to and what to use to make a willow tree, and that's actually been something on my list for a while. I've had it on my list for quite a while, and I revisit it every once in a while. So I'm sure we'll get to it because I just love willow trees. Yeah, Shadi, for something like this that we just did, I would say that a soft fan brush would probably be what you wanted. Did anybody come in late and miss the picture for next week's video? Remember I showed everybody a while ago what we were going to paint next week. So if you want to see that again, I can show you again. I'm just going to show you again because we have a delay and I'm not going to sit here for an hour and a half and wait. Okay, so here's what we're going to paint next week. The Loch Ness Monster. I have been fascinated by the Loch Ness Monster ever since I was a little kid. I remember I was in an art class one time. Well, I was probably in eighth or no. I was probably 8 or 9, so I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade, and I was in this art class and we were making like little hand puppets out of paper bags, and the teacher told me mine looked like the Loch Ness Monster, and I was like, oh, what is that? That sounded so cool. So ever since then, I've been in love with the Loch Ness Monster, and someday I want to see her. Anyway, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. It's going to be a long video, probably roughly an hour and 45 minutes, which means our viewing party for it is going to be probably a long one. I imagine you guys are going to want some demonstrations, and that's perfectly fine. Katrina says, is the watercolor live going to be a beginner technique tutorial or an actual painting? Well, Katrina, I really am a beginner in watercolor. You know, I'm just kind of learning how to use it by using it. And so I don't know that I have a ton to teach you, but I want to kind of share my experiences with you and kind of show you what I've learned. So I am, by any stretch of the meaning, I am not an expert or professional, whatever, in watercolor. I wouldn't even say I'm proficient in it in any way. But I can see its potential, and I am feeling like I'm starting to get the hang of it, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's really what I want to share with you. So since I'm a beginner, it will be beginner techniques, absolutely. And I think I'll do, because they don't take me very long to do, so I think maybe we'll do 2 of them. I'll kind of develop something real quick that we can do, and then I'll probably just do another one kind of off the top of my head based on colors that I decide that I want to use. Shadi says that, she always says that the Loch Ness Monster exists in Scotland, but everyone makes fun of her. Well, that's really sad, because I believe in the Loch Ness Monster. I think that I don't know that it is actually there, but I believe that it could be there. That's something that could exist. I believe in it, so I won't make fun of you. I don't care if people make fun of me. Bonnie's asking, do you need special brushes for watercolor, or can you use my brushes? You can absolutely use my brushes. That's what I've been using. I do have a couple of old cruddy Artist Loft Value Pack brushes that I've been using just because they're larger than my brushes, and like I need a wash brush. And then I have a couple of brushes that are very close to, well, they are actually like watercolor bristles. They were samples that I received when I was getting my brushes made. So technically I already have watercolor brush samples in hand. I could always just shoot my guy a message and say, hey, remember these? Put those into production. So we're actually that close to having a couple of watercolor brushes. I won't release like a full line of watercolor brushes, just maybe, you know, a couple, like a wash brush. And so, I mean, it might end up being like 4 additional brushes. Other than that, yeah, you can absolutely just use my regular brushes. These ones would be just to kind of fill a gap in my brushes that already exist. You know, like a wash brush, like I said, like a mop. Let's see. Are these lives available to watch on YouTube later? Lucy asks, yes. However, you cannot get to them by going to my channel. They are unlisted, which means the only way you can get to them is if I give you a link. So all of the links to these that I'm posting in both Patreon and in YouTube, you know, you can get those and bookmark them, or just scroll back through Lucy's in Patreon. You can just scroll back through Patreon, and then when you see where I announce, hey, our viewing party with the link, just click that link. And it, just like you did to get here, it will take you to the replay. Am I using the cakes or the tubes for the watercolor? I'll show you what I'm using. I'm not using any cakes at all. I don't need my headphones on anymore either. I'll be right back. I'll show you what I'm using. Now, I don't want anyone to, feel like they have to run out and buy the exact same things. Honestly, I feel like watercolor is watercolor. You don't have to have the exact same thing that I'm using. If you've got a little set of pan paints, that's perfect. Use that. I'm never going to tell you, no, you have to go buy this. It's not going to look the same. Doesn't matter if it looks the same. It's your painting. Your painting is going to look different from mine. And that's a good thing. That's exactly the way it should be. So I have this huge bag that I haul around with me everywhere I go. And it's chock full of paint. Anyway, I have these Winsor & Newton Cotman tubes, and I use them sometimes. I'll explain to you when we start doing a video. I'll explain to you what I've noticed to be the difference between these and the other paints I'm using. And the other paints that I'm using, and I use these mostly, but you don't have to. And yes, they're a little on the expensive side. However, they last for a long time. So these are the other ones that I'm using, the Dr. P.H. Martin Hydrus paints, and they are liquid. So they're highly concentrated. Oh yeah, and this is my favorite color that I was telling you about, the Gamboge. I love this color. So, they're fluid. They have like a little eyedropper in them. And I use this color more than just about any other color, and it's still more than halfway full. So they're so concentrated that even though they're expensive, they last. They last for quite a while. It'll be a while before I replace any of them, I think. But don't go running out and buying the Hydrus paints if you're not sure that watercolor is something that you want to pursue. I'm not going to be doing like the paint blowing that you have to have liquid paints for or anything. Using tube or pancakes, pan paints, somebody's hungry, will work just fine. So that's fine. Let's see. Which paints am I going to use? As far as the watercolors, I'll probably be using both of them. You can use them both together. They're intermixable. And a lot of times I do use them together. So yeah, I'll probably use a little bit of both. But it doesn't matter, if I'm like, oh, I'm using yellow and now I'm using purple. It doesn't matter exactly what color of yellow or exactly what color of purple, or whether it's from a tube or a pan or a liquid. Just use a yellow and a purple and whatever it is that you have, and that is perfect. Did I seal my Christmas tree painting with the lights? No, but that's only because I'm super lazy and I don't usually even varnish paintings until they're leaving my possession. So if I sell it or give it away or decide I want to hang it up in my house, then I varnish paintings. With that one though, I think it should be fine to varnish, but I would probably use a spray varnish on it. So if I end up varnishing it, I'll just use a spray varnish on it. Yeah, Bonnie says you can get them with a 50% off coupon from Michaels, and you can. My Michaels here, though, they don't have, I got the last one in this size. This is the small size, the half size. They have another set that's the exact same colors, but the bottles are twice as big, therefore it's like twice as expensive. And like my Michaels, at least, that's the only one they have now, is the huge bottles. But like Dick Blick or Amazon, they always have good prices too. So have I tried Intense? I haven't. I don't even know what that is. I'm assuming it's a watercolor brand. Yeah, Lucy says if you're using watercolor paper, you can thin acrylic paint down really good and use it very similarly, and you can. There will be a little bit of difference in the way the way the paint moves across the paper, but yeah, and it should be fine. I would maybe give it, a spray varnish just lightly afterwards just to make sure, but yeah, that should be fine. And Inktense. No, I have not heard of Inktense. I did get, speaking of ink, I haven't tried them yet though. So again, just because I have these doesn't mean that you have to run out and get them unless you think that this is super exciting and you want this. But I got these Liquitex inks. I just got 2 of them. They had gold and silver, so they're iridescent and different from like regular gold and silver paint, like acrylic paint that is super transparent and just kind of puts a little bit of a sparkle on whatever you use it on. These are about opaque, so if you put it over top of even a dark color, it's going to cover it. In fact, I have a little junk canvas from our last, there we go, from our last viewing party. So I'll show you. I don't have a brush over here though, but I'm just gonna like wipe it across here. So see where I did that? And it's gonna dry that opaque, so it will completely block out whatever you put over top of it. So that's really cool, for like outlining and stuff like that. But I haven't used it yet. I got them. I'll probably use them once and then never touch them again because that's how I roll. Those Inktense, that sounds pretty cool. They come in pencils or blocks. Oh, welcome, Diane. I'm sorry that you missed most of it, but you can watch it on the replay. And I hope that you get feeling better. Surgery does not sound fun. Tell them about Instagram, Eileen says. What am I telling them about Instagram? You guys should follow me on Instagram. I think I told you guys last week. There might have been some of you who weren't here though. Sounds like watermelon in here all of a sudden. Anyway, so on Instagram, every once in a while, like my goal is once a week, but I'm gonna be pretty loose with it. I'm gonna be filming. It's not a tutorial. It's not a step-by-step. It's just because you can only upload a video that's 1 minute long to Instagram. It can't be longer than that. So I'm going to be doing super quick little snips on Instagram of watercolor paintings that are mostly going to be like, those like inspirational memes with a little quote on it and a picture. So I did one last week sometime. You should go onto my Instagram and check it out. It's kind of cool, kind of fun. But it was longer than a minute, so they clipped the end of it off. So that was kind of irritating. But this is the watercolor that I did for that, and it's just super fast. If I were doing it for a tutorial, I would have put a little bit more effort and energy into it. But I was aware that it had to be quite short. So I'll be doing those every once in a while. So go follow me on Instagram for that, because that'll be fun. Katrina is afraid of Instagram. Why are you afraid of Instagram? Instagram's awesome. It's pretty cool. I just keep forgetting to use it. I don't Instagram real well. And the sky. Oh, I did post a painting. No, a quick watercolor painting image on Instagram. I can show you on my phone. Let's see, I can jump over here. So I did, you can't see that. It's just like blobs. You can see the actual one on Instagram that doesn't look all washed out and terrifying. All right. Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about? I'm down for staying as long as you guys want to stay. If you guys don't have anything else you want to talk about, then we can wrap it up too. Bye, Shirley. Thanks for coming. Let's see if that ink is dry. It's still a little wet. It takes a while to dry, but yeah, man. That stuff is opaque. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Shadi says that Instagram's much cooler than Facebook. Nobody disturbs you. It's true. Which is weird, though, because Instagram is owned by Facebook. So, I don't know. We'll see how long that lasts. It might go down the tubes. Anybody? Questions? No questions? Oh, so with watercolor... Oh, I thought Vince was here. The only color that I can't get enough of that I use, in fact, I use it in both the Hydrus and in the Winsor & Newton because they look totally different, each of them, is Payne's Gray. So if you think that watercolor is something you want to do, I would pick up a tube of Payne's Gray because I use that color. I would say I probably use that color in probably about every single painting I do. I love Payne's Gray. Love it. Katrina's not cool enough for Instagram. That's not true. Everybody's cool enough for Instagram. Okay, Atra, what's your question? Atra says, I don't want to invest in watercolor paper yet. What can I use instead? Really nothing. But seriously, watercolor paper is not expensive. Especially if you don't get it full price at Michael's. So, like, let me show you. Oh, where's my watercolor paper? One sec. I thought it was in my bag there. Well, maybe I left it at home. I'm not seeing it here. Meow, meow. Noisy. Hush. I guess I don't have it here. Anyway, I bought the Canson XL watercolor tablet, you know, the spiral, and it's really not expensive. If you have to get it at Michael's, use a coupon. Otherwise, get it on Dick Blick or Amazon, and it's cheaper. It's quite cheap. Make sure that you don't get anything under 140 pound. You know, whether it's mixed media paper or watercolor paper, don't buy 90 pound. I accidentally bought some 90 pound and it's horrible. It's like painting on printer paper. It's just gonna buckle and ripple, and it's horrible. Oh, I guess we're back. Are we back? But now everybody left, so okay. Okay, so we're back, but everybody left. Anyway, I wanted to answer that question, and then we can go because apparently my computer is stupid. Christine said that she's under the impression that it's not forgiving, that watercolor is not forgiving. That was the impression that I had as well. That, you know, once you make a mistake in watercolor, you're just done. And with very few exceptions to that, I found that to not be the case. But maybe that's just the way that I like to paint in watercolor. Like this is very tight. This isn't actually a decent representation of how I paint in watercolor. But even with this, I found that I had room to make adjustments and change things. So we'll go over that. And I was actually really surprised that watercolor was a lot more forgiving than I was under the impression before I started using it. So yeah, well, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be good. And I guess on that note, before my broadcasting software drops me on my head again, I guess we'll just go, and I will get you guys information on our next viewing party as well as our first watercolor party on New Year's Day. So I'm super excited about both of them. And you'll get new video on Saturday instead of Sunday, hopefully. Ooh, 3 days early, lucky dogs. All right, guys, so I'm going to take off, and I will see you soon. Have a good night, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, all of that stuff. I will see you soon.